This episode of the Still Unnamed podcast is dedicated to the life and memory of my grandpappy Ralph Blaine. Rest in peace, you tough son of a bitch. See you on the other side.
And now, it's the Still Unnamed podcast with your host, Petey Salas.
Hey kids, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Still Unnamed podcast. I'm Petey Salas, along with
Mark the Brown Stallion Rodriguez.
You know, every week you come here with these nicknames.
It takes me a while.
They get more and more ridiculous with every 7 days.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I like where it's going.
I'm gonna keep on changing it.
Why are you the Brown Stallion?
Because I'm wild, can't be tamed.
Okay.
I'm a bit brown. I'm of the Latino heritage.
Okay. That covers the brown.
The brown.
Gotcha.
And I'm like a stallion.
Brown Stallion.
The brown stallion.
I don't know why that reminds me of poop.
Poop?
Yeah, just anything brown. When you say
I
brown,
guess.
it just reminds me of shit.
I'm like a poop.
Well, you said it.
Well, now I have to change it for next week. I was like, you know what?
I hope that you do.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
Unless I forget.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, okay, Brown Stallion. What's happened this last week with you?
Do you have a nickname?
I do have a nickname. I think it's universally known that my nickname is Bubba.
Oh, that's true. That's a really stupid question.
Well, you know. Yeah, I've had that nickname since I was a kid.
Where did that come from? Just started?
I've been told that it was like my mom always liked that name when she was younger, and maybe she had a boyfriend named Bubba. I have no idea.
Because it sounds kind of hillbilly-ish.
It does, but see, my mom wasn't always a hillbilly. She thinks she's one now.
Uh-huh.
Which is a good segue to something we're getting to in just a minute. But yeah, she thinks she's a hillbilly now. But yeah, Bubba does sound very, very like redneck-ish.
Yes.
I don't know where it came from. I'm going to say it's because I've always been a larger person, including a large child. So that just kind of seems like one of those nicknames that you would give a big baby. Like,
yeah.
Hey, Bubba.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know.
We called Dexter Buddy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I called Quentin Buddy too when he was little. I think that's just like a default here in the house.
Yeah, I think that's gonna stick though. I mean, well, yeah,
probably. I don't know. Do you have a real nickname like that your parents call you?
No,
Mijo.
No,
I don't know.
My mom sometimes calls me Mark.
She runs down the list of all her kids.
Yeah. She does it with the grandkids now. Aubrey, fine. Just Evelyn, Harley, quick, come here.
Well, I mean, like I said, you mentioned hillbilly-ish, and my mom thinking that she's some sort of a redneck. This has only happened in the last 15, 16 years.
Okay.
Reason being is because she met her father just like 16, 17 years ago, her actual biological father.
Yes.
And the segue that I was going to get to was my grandfather passed away, her dad, in this last week. So she's actually... You know, she's been up and down, going up to go see him while he was getting progressively worse, and now he finally, you know, passed away. So, yeah, that's why she thinks she's a hillbilly, because he's kind of one of those redneck.
She's kind of a hillbilly.
Well, she is now, and that's what I'm saying. Like, she wasn't always like that.
Well, what was she before? Because I've only known her past going on 8-9 years now.
Right. The first half of my life, she was always like, I'll always call her. She's always been a tough old bitch. Like that's been my mom.
Yeah.
Like she likes to be outdoors. She likes to dig holes for no reason.
I used to dig holes. I was looking for dinosaurs.
So she's always been like a tough lady.
Broad.
But it's only been in the last half of my life, I guess, that she's really embraced the whole. You know, she's got kinfolk now and stuff like. She'll use those terms.
She's embraced it.
Right, she's embraced it because she met her dad and she found out her dad was a white redneck guy. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so that's cool. Yeah.
Well, what was she before? Because okay, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I once saw a picture that she sent to your dad with her and Alyssa. They had like a glamour shots picture. And I was like, oh my God, that is great.
That was because
your mom hates getting her picture taken. She's like a Native American. She thinks her soul's getting taken away.
She absolutely hates her picture being taken. Those glamour shots were weird. That was definitely PGP, which is pre-grandpappy. So that was before she would never do that today. I don't think, like, even if I said, you know what, Mom, I'd really like for you to, I think it'd be nice if you took a nice picture with Quentin and the grandchildren. Let's have a family portrait. She'd absolutely say no. I know, because
why?
She hates pictures.
Why? Why do you need to do? You know what I look like.
Right. You want to see me? Just look at me. That type of thing. But,
I'm right next door.
So, yeah. Anyway, that happened. So,
that sucks.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. I'm sure I'll have my mom on here later. I think we've already kind of talked about that. She wants to come on and talk about him a little bit more. But, yeah. So, the main thing, I do have some topics today, actually.
Yes.
Really?
Let's go. Let's do it.
It's always been like off, just by the seat of our pants, I guess. I finally wrote something down here. Let's talk about comic books real fast.
Okay.
We're both avid fans of comics and comic books.
I actually just recently got into them, to be quite honest. I was never really into them. I was always a big fan of Batman the Animated Series.
Okay.
I was like, this is a great fucking cartoon, and I
so you took it just as it was. It was just a cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew it was a comic book.
I knew it was a comic book.
Okay.
I knew it was based on a comic book. I knew there were movies. I knew all that other stuff.
Okay.
But I just didn't know about any of that. That wasn't, not too many comic book shops in Calchosa.
That's true. I always overlook the fact that you came from
yeah, it's a different place.
That place.
And also I didn't really have...
It might as well be Mars.
I didn't have people like introducing me to that type of stuff. But when I got older, I was like, you know what? I really like Batman. The movies had come out, The Batman Begins, and I was like, this is fucking tits. I want to get into graphic novels and stuff. So that's when I started picking them up and then looking at Origins and then looking at other things. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, with Batman being the topic on the table, let's talk Gotham. Gotham, for those of you who don't know, is a TV show on Fox Monday nights that I, for one, had tremendous high hopes for.
I was so looking forward to it.
So was I.
I'm a huge Batman fan, if you couldn't tell from the last podcast.
But, as am I, yes.
Well, even my daughter, Harley Quinn.
Right, you named your daughter after Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, Gotham sucks.
It's not very good.
It is not a good show.
It's
so disappointing.
It's got its high points, but I'm gonna say they're too far and few in between.
Right. I mean, the thing that hurts me is like I wanted to love it so bad. Like I just wanted. I embraced it. I was talking shit to people who were talking shit about it before it came out.
I was right there
defending.
With you. I was defending the shit out of it.
And we hadn't even seen it.
And we're like, it's going to be great.
Right. And then what ends up happening is I do a lot of, business with the Fox affiliate down here. So they invited me to a personal private screening of the first episode like 2 weeks before it aired.
Yeah.
To you normies.
You bastard.
And I watched the first episode, and dude, I loved it. Like I was just so excited about the situation, and oh my god, I got wrapped up in the whole thing about shit. This is Gotham. This is the prequel to Batman, and dude, the biggest complaint before it aired was, how are they gonna do Batman without Batman in it? And I was like, fuck you, it's gonna be great. And
I think it could have been done had they did it right.
I think the biggest problem with it is they're changing too much shit.
Yes.
And see, again, I gotta say, since we are, Bat fanatics and we know the origin stories of these characters, do you think that we take it, and not just us and millions of other people who are fans of Batman, see it differently than the normal viewer?
I would say so, because since we know the origins, we're like, well, that's different from the original story, from these original people.
Right.
And we're judging it off of its original origins.
Right.
So, like, if if we see the Riddler. And personally, every new character that comes out, I start thinking, well, is this better than the original origin?
Right.
And it usually isn't. They just wanted to change it up, and I can understand wanting it to be your own baby, to be your own thing, but I mean, if it's not going to be better,
right? You're given the creative freedom and license to take these characters and run with them. The problem that I have with it is there's like in some cases legit 75 years worth of backstory to them that they could have worked off of.
Yeah.
But instead they're like, let's just change it just for the sake of changing it. And that I have a problem with. But again, I go back to my point is, are we different viewers, we being actual Batman fans who are like, let's just call it Batman nerds who know the backstory and the origins, do we watch it differently through a different prism than other people who aren't necessarily Batman fans?
I'm going to say it's going to be like when you saw 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
There were the people that went in knowing the story, and they were like, this is the story that I know, but there's some few changes. We went in going, okay, this is an origin that we are aware of exists.
Right.
In a fictional world. I'm not crazy. And there are some people that have no idea. They're like, oh, Batman, yeah, I've seen the movies. Those movies are cool.
Right.
There are some
they just take it like at ground level, and they're just like, let me be entertained, so let me watch it. But I don't know. I mean, I happen to think that if you're going to watch a show like Gotham, which is, it's not a Batman story, it's got elements of, the Batman universe in it, I would think that primarily more than 50% of the viewing audience likes Batman, are Batman fans, and they came in here expecting, to be like a whole other chapter, like a whole other, a different view. Yeah,
it could have been like a different universe even, maybe.
Right. But just the way that they did it and the way they handled it is really upsetting.
I'm trying to be out of a neutral just viewpoint, I'm going to say it's not even that good of a show. Like I can see fans just leaving it.
I'd like to see what the ratings are compared to where they started to where they are now.
Well, I heard that it's been picked up steady for the second season.
Well, I mean, I think it was going to be picked up regardless because they dropped a lot of money on this. And I don't think that Fox wants it to be a flop.
Yeah.
So regardless of ratings, I think they're going to just give it a second season just to see how it goes. But dude, from not even just a Batman fan, but like a good television show standpoint, an action, and if you want to say a comic book show, Arrow, on CW, I cannot suck off Arrow harder. I know, but that is what a comic book television show should be. Arrow is fantastic from top to bottom.
I've seen a few episodes of Arrow, and I agree with you. It's really well done, and I think what it did that Gotham didn't do was take its time with its villains.
Right.
Right off the bat, first episode, we're introduced to like 4 villains.
Correct. Yeah.
And I think it's just oversaturated. I think it could have been drawn out so much more. It could have been just,
Dude, in 2015, there should be more. They should have done Batman better.
Yeah.
They should have just given him. I mean, he's DC's number one draw.
Absolutely.
He's taken Superman's spot. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Superman was always like, I guess, let's say the Mickey Mouse of DC universe.
Yeah.
Okay. But in this case, let's just imagine what the Disney universe would be like if Donald Duck took top spot. That's what happened in this case. Batman took the top spot. He's number one in merchandising. He's number one in comic book sales. He's number one across the board. Now, to have handled this story as poorly as they did, that is fucking bullshit.
It's quite upsetting.
It is. But something big happened this past week, which is what's prompting me to even talk about. The season's not over yet, but
we got 5 episodes to go.
5 episodes to go, and at least on paper, they alluded to they have given us a Joker origin story. Joker, of course, being the number one villain in
he's all of it
in everything.
He's the number one bad guy.
Right. And to see how do I say this?
It's
almost like holy scripture.
Yeah.
Like it's undocumented holy scripture because Joker doesn't have an origin story.
Exactly.
Okay? He doesn't. No writer, except with the exception of one, has been given the opportunity to tell the Joker origin story. Okay? This is on par on the other side of the fence on Marvel. This is like Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like Logan's origin story. Like Logan had no origin.
Yeah, and then they gave him one.
And they actually handled it well.
Yeah.
It came out really well. This was well thought out. This was like 50 years in the making, and they gave him a backstory, and it was universally accepted by all fans. Now, we're being told that this is the Joker origin story, that he's a kind of just a messed up little kid
Carney
who works at a carnival, and his mom's a hoe, and he killed her, and
it was real bad.
it seemed real forced.
I'm a big fan of the Joker, maybe bigger than Batman, and that hurt. Okay, pretty much it's like the thought, your imagination is what's really good about the origin. I'm sorry, hold on. Let me gather my thoughts for a second.
Okay, you think about that. My point being is, if you're a comic book fan and you are a fan of television and drama and whatnot, there's the Arrow. There's the Arrow show on CW. There's Flash on CW, which is also really good. Constantine is on NBC. Daredevil's going to have his own show on Netflix coming up soon, and I'm pretty sure they're going to handle that well. Batman should have been treated better on television. That's all I'm saying.
There's a video game series out there called Half-Life. It was really, really good. There's Half-Life, and then there was Half-Life 2. And for years, and Half-Life 2 kind of ended on a cliffhanger, and that was maybe a decade ago.
Okay.
That it ended. And fans for years have been asking for a Half-Life 3.
Okay.
And it's never going to happen because there's been so much hype and it's been so long that whatever you have in your mind, whatever they put out will not be as good as what you have built up in your head. And I think that's how I feel about the Joker, and that's how I feel a lot of people feel about the Joker, is whatever story they put forth, it's not going to satisfy you because he's so interesting, because he's so mysterious.
Right.
Like, where did this guy come from?
Right.
What's his story? I don't know. He's crazy. That's the only thing we know about him.
He's crazy, and he's the ultimate villain.
He's the ultimate villain.
Right.
He's just the epitome of evil.
I think the way he was handled in Dark Knight was probably the best way that they could have brought him to the screen.
Yeah.
Because in that sense, he himself gave himself 2 or 3 origin stories.
Yeah.
And he lied about all of them. So who knows what the real story is?
Yeah.
Maybe they're all true in his head. It's just, it left it a mystery. I don't want to know where Joker came from. Joker just exists. He is pure evil with clown makeup on.
Oh, that's fucking great.
As simple as that.
It's what it is.
I don't know. But yeah, not a fan of Gotham.
I mean, I'm going to finish the season. Hopefully,
me too.
It'll get better.
Me too. And you were the only reason I'm still watching it. I told you that. I told you that the last time we watched it was I probably would have maybe given up on this, or at least not be up to date with it right now.
Can we talk about that Joker one more time? I'm sorry. His motivation was just so unclear. It seemed like they just threw him on there.
Right.
He was pretty much spoilers for the episode of Gotham that aired on the, 16th of February 2015. But essentially, he killed his mom because his mom was a whore and his mom told him to like do the dishes and stuff. And they were kind of like, oh, he's crazy. But I didn't see enough for me to believe that he's crazy.
Right.
I think it was just so forced and rushed.
It was forced. And I think that, You know, this could be a big swerve by the writers. Maybe this wasn't even a Joker origin story.
I hope so, because next week we have a Red Hood.
Right. And see, that's the thing. That's what I was explaining to Alyssa last night was the one Joker origin story that's out there, and this came out like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was a graphic novel called The Killing Joke by
Alan Moore.
Alan Moore, thank you. I guess that was the universally accepted origin story for the Joker, which was he was a failed stand-up comedian. He had a wife, he had a kid that he wasn't providing for, so he decided to rob a bank. So he put together some local hoodlums, and he put a red like mask over himself, and he called himself the Red Hood. And on his first attempt at robbing a place, he was robbing a chemical warehouse or something. He encounters the Batman. And the Batman knocks his ass into a vat of chemicals, and that makes him go crazy.
Pales his skin,
and he
greens his hair.
Exactly, and there's the birth of the Joker, which is directly influenced by Batman.
Yeah.
So in Gotham, they're already
quick note in that graphic novel. It also Joker also mentions, at least that's how I remember it sometimes.
Right.
Which alludes to this might not even be
exactly
his origin.
Correct.
Which I really appreciated. I'm like, okay, I can accept that might be how it happened because there was a Red Hood gang.
Right.
But I also like that maybe it didn't even happen like that. He's just so crazy that he doesn't know. He's been doing this so long that he doesn't even know how he got started. He just woke up one day and he's like, this is who I am.
Exactly.
But go on. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so in Gotham, for them to give us a pseudo, I'm assuming, give us a Joker origin story.
Yeah.
I think that's what they want to say, and to bring in the Red Hood without Batman even being in this universe yet. It's just that's a prime example. And there
was something poetic about the Batman creating the Joker.
Right. That's what made him the ultimate, villain for him. Yeah. So anyway,
his ultimate enemy was created by himself. Right. He created his ultimate enemy.
Exactly. So now they're taking that element away from it. Anyway, not a fan.
I'm going to say out of 10, 3. It's just, and like, it's not a great show because there's just too much going on, I think. Like they're following Bruce, and they're also following Gordon, and they're following Fish Mooney, and they're following the Penguin. And they're following too many people, I think.
Right. And you know what? The Penguin hasn't said, wah, not even once. Fuck that.
What's up with that?
My Penguin is short, he's fat, and he says, wah, 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 wah. So fuck this emo-looking...
I had hair like that.
You did have hair like that.
Every time his hair comes, I'm like, damn, that's some cool-looking... I should grow out my hair again.
So anyway, let's see if they can turn it around in the next 5 episodes, but I do not think so.
I doubt it. I mean, everyone always says, like, well, the first season of The Simpsons wasn't that great. And I'm like, oh, that's such a rare occurrence, The Simpsons.
Yes, that is true. Have you seen Baby's Day Out? Do you remember that movie?
Yes. Yes.
Early 90s?
Yeah.
Okay. Me and Quentin were watching, scamming. Me and Quentin were scanning Netflix to try and find something to watch. He came across this Baby's Day Out, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I haven't seen that in forever. And I remember thinking it was funny, but then...
I mean, I don't have negative memories. I don't have memories, but I don't remember negative memories.
Right. And it's a John Hughes film. I mean, John Hughes, dude. He's 16 Candles, Breakfast Club.
Yeah, he's
Baby's Day Out. Right. He wrote Home Alone 2.
he wrote Home Alone 1 also.
Oh, whatever. Anyway... So I thought, you know what? This is a good way to pass an hour and a half with Quentin. Let's watch Baby's Day Out. Terrible fucking movie.
Does not hold up then.
No, does not hold up well. It is awful.
Well then.
It is awful. For those of you who have not watched it, stop what you're doing. Pause this podcast. Go watch Go watch Baby's Day Out. Because it is terrible.
Well, I mean, the premise...
Right.
If I vaguely remember, I'm getting images of some bad guys that are trying to chase a baby through the city.
Right. Some bad guys, they have a scheme where they're going to kidnap a rich baby. They're going to pose as photographers and take him from his house.
Wait, spoilers.
No, sorry. Spoilers for those of you who haven't seen it. They kidnap him from his house and they hold him for ransom for like $5 million. And at some point, he escapes the apartment that they're holding him in. And he goes off on a spree, on just a baby's day out, hence the name.
It sounds ridiculous.
It is. It's one of those slapstick, goofy comedies, kind of like the end of Home Alone, but yet Home Alone holds up. I like
charming.
It's Home Alone without the charm.
Oh.
And it's just how badly can we beat up these idiot guys? How badly can a baby beat up these idiot guys?
Oh my God, it is kind of like Home Alone.
Right. But the one thing that the one thing that stood out to me is midway through the movie, they recapture him and they're sitting on a park bench with him.
Okay.
Because the cops are talking to these three bad guys.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of asking him questions.
Cops don't know they're bad guys.
Right. They don't know that they're bad guys. It's just three random dudes sitting on a park bench.
Bros being bros.
And they have the baby under... Joe Mantegna has the baby sitting on his lap, and he's got his jacket over him, so he's hiding the baby from the cops.
Yeah.
Well, I could be wrong, but that baby... that baby gives him a hand job. That baby proceeds to grab his dick, and they show this little baby hand. There's a camera under.
Are you serious?
Yes, they cut to a shot of the camera, which is underneath the jacket with the baby, and a little baby hand clearly grabs the knob of Joe Mantegna's cock.
Not a pants tent.
No, and starts like grabbing it with all his little baby might, and they cut back and forth between the baby hand on his dick and his
how's
face.
Joe Mantegna reaction to this? Because he could be like punching him in the dick.
No, he's reacting the way comically he's supposed to, like making these faces like ooh,
oh my God, so weird.
While they cut back and forth to this little baby hand, furiously grabbing and shaking his cock.
Oh, that's gross.
It is disgusting, and it's so bad on so many levels, and it's right in the middle of this
Oh my God.
of this kids movie.
You know what that means? John Hughes wrote.
Yes. Put pen to paper.
Baby grabs villain number one's dick.
Right. And furiously shakes it. It gets better. Somehow, the baby gets a hold of Joe Mantegna's Zippo lighter.
Okay.
Which, I don't know if he keeps it, by his cock, or he reached around and grabbed it from his pocket. But anyway, there's the little baby hand with the Zippo
that baby
lighter.
Is handsy. We've established that.
Yes. Zippo lighter, turns it on, and starts lighting his balls on fire.
Oh, my God.
All the while, he's trying to hide the kid under the jacket from the cops, and he's making those...
These are terrible cops, let me just say.
Right. They are horrible cops. Incidentally, one of those cops, the janitor from Scrubs.
Oh. Well, look at him.
Right.
Everyone's got to start somewhere.
Right. So that was cool. But yeah, I just found that so disturbing right in the middle of the film.
Hey, did you know that janitor, I think it's been in a couple of BuzzFeed lists already, but that janitor was actually supposed to be in JD's mind in the first season. In the first season, he doesn't... talk with or react to anybody but JD.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all supposed to be revealed later on that janitor was in his mind.
Hey, I didn't know that.
But then they realized that they actually got a hit, so they were going to actually do a couple of seasons. So they're like, okay, let's have him talk to people.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got to go back and watch that.
It's a great show.
It is. I mean, I agree. But yeah, sitting there with my 7-year-old, and he's laughing his little balls off
because it's
ridiculous that this baby would be grabbing the bad guy's penis and setting his balls on fire with a Zippo lighter. So yeah,
That is absolutely ridiculous.
The end of that scene, the big punchline is the baby gets away, and now Joe Mantegna's cock is on fire, and it gets stomped out by his friends.
Yes, that's what I was kind of hoping for, that they stomped on his fiery balls.
That that's exactly...
That was going to happen.
That was going to happen.
But I would be let down if it didn't.
I have a feeling I'm going to give John Hughes credit because he's a genius. If you look at his body of work, everything that he's done is he wrote baby sets balls on fire. I'm going to give him that.
Yeah.
That was funny. That he grabs a Zippo out of his pocket, sets his balls on fire, escapes. Now the bad guy's friends have to stomp his balls out, stomp the fire out. I think that in some sort of a rewrite, or some producer said, you know what would be even funnier? Before he sets his balls on fire, he gives him a hand job.
Wow. Our producers are the worst.
Yes, they are. And so, Baby's Day Out. I highly recommend that you guys watch.
Ironically, watch it.
At least up to that point. Because it is a horrible, horrible movie.
Gah. Is that all you wrote down? Gotham and Baby's Day Out?
Gotham and Baby's. Those are my notes. My notes are Gotham sucks and Baby's Day Out with handjob ? So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. I hope we didn't get too nerdy for you on this episode. I know that it was a little comic.
I'm a passionate man.
Then that's what prompted me to even write it down to want to talk about it, because we're passionate when it comes to our comics.
That's the way most nerds are, I think.
Specifically Batman, right? So I just felt we needed to discuss this, and if we lost the audience on the first half of the show because we were too comic book centric, then hopefully we gained some of you back when we were talking about infant hand jobs. So, yeah.
I hope not. I hope nobody was like, yeah.
Let's tune back in for that.
Then what did he do? Set his balls on fire? That's hot. Gross.
Terrible. Anyway, Mark, always a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. This is episode 23. Thanks for listening, guys. And special thanks to our sponsor, Chico's Bail Bonds. And you guys have yourself a happy Taco Tuesday.
This is Mark the Brown Stallion signing off.
Oh, goodbye.